Good morning. How is everyone? We made it to Friday. So exciting. Hi. Oh, goodness. Okay, so I'm going to get started here. We're going to do these wagon wheels and a nice little buttonhole stitch detail. I wanted to say design, but it's definitely a detail. So I'll show you how to do that. And because we've already done the wagon wheel, that can be something that we do. I'll show you how to do the big one, and then you can do the other two if you want to over the weekend. So at first I was going to split these two up, but I think we're just going to do them at once because we've already done them. They're quite simple. So first we're going to do the buttonhole or the blanket stitch, and they're very similar. I haven't figured out what's the difference between them yet, but I'm going to put tiny little lines all the way around, and this is going to be my guide. So if you have a little bit of trouble trying to figure out how far apart you need your stitches to be, this will be a good guide because they need to be small. Small. And I'm going to use this like golden color, like it's much more golden than the yellow I used before. And then for the wagon wheels, I'm going to use this trio of oranges that I didn't use yesterday. So hopefully that's nice. Hopefully it will work out. Now, just like we did if you did the applique, we're going to do that here. So you're going to come up on a corner. And these actually might be a little too far apart, but we'll see. You're going to come up on the outside corner here, and then go down on the inside of the next one. And leave your loop like this. And then up again on that same line on the outside edge. Okay, and like I said, I'm doing 3 strands because I want it to be just a small detail. I don't want it to be really big and bold, but I do want to be able to see it when I do my wagon wheels. So that's always a nice kind of balance of, you don't want the lines to be too thick because then you won't be able to see the details, but then also you don't want them to be too thin that you actually can't see the details. So I've done this on a different stitch along, but I used black thread in the middle for the buttonhole part, and I think that this nice golden color is going to look really pretty. So as you're going around, you're going to do the same pattern. Just bumped it, of course. Now we're not going to do it for all of them because these ones are a bit too small. Your stitches here are going to be so tiny. So I don't really like doing them on the bigger ones. And you can always tell if your stitches aren't big enough because they'll start to go in like this. You want to keep those all the way out like that. Do a little small one here. Got a little knot. That's always fun. Where is everyone today? Friday. maybe sleeping in. I definitely slept longer than I should have today. And woke up like, whoa. Why is it so late? Okay, so now we're back where we started from. And we're just gonna put a little stitch there and then a tacking stitch on the other side to keep that down. So just on the other side of that thread, we're just gonna tack it down. So that's it for the buttonhole or blanket stitch. Some people call it blanket, some people call it buttonhole. The back should look like this. Nice little circle. And then we can get started with our woven wagon wheels. So for this one, we're going to do, let's see here. If it was going all the way in, I would probably do 7. But because it's such a wide circle like this, we're going to do 9. So 9 spokes. They don't have to be 100% even around, but try your best, you know? I'm gonna go for the dark color. Please, it's Friday. Going away to a self-catering barn conversion tomorrow for a few days. It's on a farm in the middle of nowhere. Can't wait. Veronica, that sounds amazing. I'll meet you there. Oh, that sounds incredible. I hope you have the best time. Now, for these 3, you can make them all the same, or you can make them all different colors. That's completely up to you. You could use a variegated thread, which is where the color changes on its own to get a nice color variation in there. You could stop one color and start another, so it's got 2 different colors in there. For the moment, I'm just gonna do a regular woven wagon wheel. I know we've done this before, but we did it on the basket. So these ones look a little bit more like roses and not just like a woven bag when you're done. So the bigger the circle, the more spokes you'll have to stitch. And like I said, they all don't have to be 100% even as you go around. I would love you to come. Unfortunately, there are 2 households already. Yeah, they've changed the rules starting on Monday. So there it is. Back to six people, isn't it? 2 households of no more than 6 people. I reckon we'll get another lockdown soon. But then again, I could go on about that for ages. Like, what do they expect would happen with the whole eat out to help out scheme and blah, 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 you know? Hello from Chile. Same in Scotland now too, Veronica says. Yeah. Goodness. I know some families were not happy because they have 6 people in their family normally. So they actually can't go, like they can't go be with anyone. Okay, so all we're gonna do is under the first one, over the next one. It's just like before, which is why I'm kind of combining these 2 today, because when we've already done it before, so it seems silly to like do a whole day on something that I've already showed you. But at the same time, they will look different than the woven baskets. So keep that in mind. So for the smaller ones, you can do 7 or you can do 5. I'll probably end up doing 7 and then 5, just so that you guys can see the difference. And then obviously this is all 6 strands. And you can even make it more fluffy by doing 12 strands if you wanted to. So there's all kinds of ways that you can like customize it and like make it your own a little bit. So there we go. So just a reminder, if anybody wants to like dip out, because we've already done this, you need to cover all of your spokes. You need to cover all of them. So even when you're looking on the side, hi Jamie T, you need to cover them all. So I don't want to see any spokes sticking out even a little bit. They all need to be covered. So normally I would switch to a blunt needle now because of I always end up going through the spokes. You can also use the eye of your needle. I know that we discussed that before. Going like this through each one, also easy. But I always end up pushing the end like this. So that's why I don't do it that way. But yeah. There's all kinds of like tips and tricks for this. You can also use a stem stitch on the outline if you still have some spokes left and you would like to cover them up. So you can do a really nice big stem stitch so your stitches will be the same length as your spokes are. And that way they'll really cover it, but maybe you can't fit your needle around anymore. Or maybe you just can't be ours. And that's okay too. So we'll go round and round and round. It's so hard to do this on a hoop stand, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'd much rather have the hoop out and then be able to turn it and turn it and turn it. It goes so much quicker. And then there's also some debate on whether you should do these first or do them last. So I'll just quickly tell you the benefits of each and you can decide on your own when you do like a pattern from me next or from someone else next. Some people say do them first because if you see as I'm going around and around and around, my needle will poke some of the other stitching that's already on there. Come on. There we go. So if you do them first, you won't have to worry about snagging any of your other stitches. So you can just go round and round and round, stitch it however you want to. Whereas if you do them last or in the middle of your pattern, like we're having to do today, then you will have to watch out because you don't want to snag any of these already and then pull them up. If you do, it's not the end of the world. You can always fix it by going on the back, finding that stitch and pulling it back down. But especially when you have, like when I do this other wagon wheel, I'm gonna have to really watch out because I don't want to snag those ones, meaning the stitches of this wagon wheel. Because obviously I'm not going down through the fabric. All I'm doing is stitching on the surface of this. So this wagon wheel is all just a surface stitch. It's weaving, woven wagon wheel. So you can choose for yourself. I know some people in previous stitch-alongs, they've watched the tutorial, figured out how to do it, and then just waited until the very end to do them because they thought that they were going to snag them. And they were like, I know that I'll mess it up. I know I will. I know I will. And so they just waited. So you could do that as well if you aren't keen or you don't trust yourself. So there we are. Okay, so I'm almost to the end here, and I can just about get away with stopping, but I can still see my spokes. Can you see? So what you can do on the outside edge is do a stem stitch. And what you're gonna do is keep your stitches, because remember the stem stitch, you're gonna make one stitch and then go in the middle of that stitch to do the next stitch. So you're just gonna try and make these about as long as your spokes so that they follow the same loopy pattern that's on the outside. Now, some people really like doing this and other people don't. Choose what you wanna do. You know, if you quite like the look of it, do it. If not, you don't have to. So again, we've done the stem stitch before, so you're just making that loop and coming up in the middle. Or you could just keep going around and round and round and squeezing it in until you can't squeeze in anymore. And then for the last one, I'm just going to tuck it behind this one here, the first one that we did. Like that. So there we go. You can't see the spokes anymore. Super important. And then if you really want a fluffy rose, you can always take your needle and just up some of them. Some people like really fluffy roses, and some people like them to be more flat to your fabric. So they will, you know, be poofed up a bit. So I'm going to do a knot there. Make sure you're not pulling this knot too. There's like a bird party in my backyard. There's like 7 pigeons. Weird. Really weird. So now for the next one, I think I'll end up going this darker color maybe. No, the lighter one for the next biggest. And we'll do it again. Do the exact same thing again. I know some people also like to do less strands for the spokes because they've said that it's less likely for your needle to catch. So whether you want to do that and try, then that's completely up to you. I know other people also like to do the spokes all the way to the center. So I could probably get away with 5 for this, but I'm going to do 7. And then this one here will be 5. So what I mean is that they'll put these spokes all the way to the center and not do anything in the middle. So I like to put a circle in the middle so that I can do like French knots, or you can even do like a little weaving situation in the middle, or you can do a satin stitch in the middle. You do all kinds of stuff. But it just depends on what you like to do. So when we do the details day later and the French knots for the centers and things like that, then you can choose what, you know, what you like. Do what you like. Huh. And I feel like I say this all the time, but yes, I've made the pattern. Yes, this is a stitch along. Yes, I'm showing you how to do it. But you can always take the skills that you've learned from other stitch alongs and apply them here. So if you decide that you want to do it in a different kind of way, do it. Use a different stitch. If this is your very first time, I would suggest following along just so that you can learn all the different stitches, because it's a really great way to get a lot of stitches in like your memory bank, you know, to learn how to do it. So yeah, so just give it a go and try. The worst thing that can happen is that you don't like it and you have to take it out. So it's like really not that bad, you know? Oh, this one's gonna be hard. I'm telling you, by the end of this, I should be like an ambidextrous stitcher. The amount of times I've used my left hand for stitching. And I actually read that normally you would have your right hand on top for stabby stitching, meaning like the split stitch or a satin stitch or any kind of stitches where you poke it through. And your left hand would be underneath like this. Let me zoom it out so you can see what I'm talking about. So your left hand would be on the bottom. So you go like poke it through, and then your left hand would take it and do the next stitch. And then your right hand would take it and do the next stitch. And that's what you do like this. Obviously up and down like this so you could actually see. But isn't that wild? Does anyone do that now? I've tangled my thread now. Yeah, isn't that like, I don't know if I could consistently do that like for the whole time. Maybe like a couple times. I do use my left hand a lot, but not like, you know. Hannah says, I love the autumnal colors. Yes, me too. I thought maybe I wouldn't go there because it's really only September, but it's getting cool here now. Like already. Oh, thank you. Someone says, this is so beautiful, so relaxing to watch. And Veronica says, I have double-ended needles with the eye in the middle you're supposed to do that with. Oh, can you send me a picture if you have them like handy? That sounds so interesting. Have you ever used them? It's 6 a.m. where I live, so a nice morning activity. Yes. So 6 strands, like I've said. How many strands are you using? 6? And Hannah says it's freezing here too. It's just too cold. I think it feels, to me, it feels like there's not, like hasn't been a summer at all. Because I'm used to like really hot weather at the lake and in Toledo, like hot, like really hot and humid and like no wind and like you could just jump in the lake because you're just so hot, you know? Like I think that's what I'm used to. And because we really didn't have that in England this year, like we had maybe 3 or 4 days that I would consider like hot, you know? Where I was like sitting in the kiddie pool. That's meant to be for Jessie. I think I can go around one more time before I do any kind of other stitches. Yes. Achievement. Hannah says, we've had a couple of hot days here, but I didn't think fall would come so fast. Yeah, it just, for me, it feels like we had, like, didn't really have that much of a summer at all. And then, like, fall's here. And, like, maybe this is, like, normal, like, English weather, you know, for summer. Because, to be honest, we've always gone to the lake. So, like, every summer since, for me, 2011, I think, I've always gone back. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so hard. Okay, so if you just can't be arsed like me, then you can start your sum stitches now. I try and keep to just one go around of some stum stitches though. You don't want it to be two or three goes, because then it starts to get quite flat on the edges. And you don't necessarily want that. You want it to be nice and fluffy all the way around. And obviously you don't have to do this. So this is one of those things where, like, you know, if you fancy trying and giving it a go, then of course you can. If you're like, I really don't like how it looks, then just don't do it, you know? It's one of those optional things. But it's all about building your skills. So it's one of those things where if you try it and you don't like it, then that's that. You don't have to do it again, you know? But try it once, learn how to do it, and then you can say, oh, I've done that before. Ha ha ha. So there's that color done. And let's just, there's definitely a hair in there. One of Jessie's hairs. Probably hair everywhere. Someone says, Robin says, this is looking beautiful. Thank you. Do you like the yellow color more now? I do, actually. Because I know I said I was a little bit hesitant about this big yellow flower. I do like it more now. I feel like at first when it was just that, I was a bit, maybe I should take out. Especially because other people had done such beautiful colored flowers. Like deep reds and pinks and blues, and I feel like I was getting a little bit jealous. I was like, oh, do I really have to keep this? I don't want to. But actually, I quite like it. And I think if I do a nice colored inside, I feel like I'm going to lose my voice soon, guys. I can just feel it. Can you hear me? I feel like I'm stuffed up. Oh, I hate this. Robin says, I love it. So autumnal. So like I said, I like doing a hole in the middle. But if you want to go all the way, then you just make these all touch in the middle. I like to fill them with stuff. I like to put French knots in there or something, you know. But some people don't, and that's okay too, you know, because like people have different ways of doing things. So I'm a big like do you, you know, if you want to do it that way, then you do it that way. I should probably let you guys go, but I'm almost finished now, so. Now, the 5-star one, the 5-pointed flower, is going to look a little bit rough the first couple go-arounds. And by rough, I mean, like, you're going to say, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Because it does look, see what I mean? because it does look a little bit like, ugh, what am I doing? And if you get smaller than this, so here's like my finger for, you know, scale. If it gets smaller than this, here's a pen, then you can do 3 strands at 3 spokes as well. But really keep going with it and keep going round and round and round and round, and it will look better. So this, you can get a bit like, oh, what is that? Why is she having us do that? This does not look nice. But keep going round and round and round, and I promise you it will look like a flower. Someone called these peonies the other day, and I just didn't see how they looked like peonies. I'll fix it later. Hi, George. Look who finally showed up. I made it. You did make it. It was still stuffy today, so I feel like you might have been right yesterday. Maybe I'm getting a sniffle. I think it's the weather changing, though. The minute it starts to get cold, I'm like, I'm gonna lose my voice. Let's get sniffle. That'll be fun. All right, so I think you guys get it. I've also put on YouTube some basic embroidery stitch tutorials. They're really short. So if anybody needs them for patterns, or if you want to go back and see one of the stitches, but like really simple, they're all under 10 minutes. I'll probably end up putting them on IGTV as well. But they're all on YouTube. They're under basic embroidery stitches. And I recorded them ages ago. So like I'm not even sure like what all of them, like what I even say in all of them. But I'll redo them later. But for now, if anyone's like got questions, or if you've like got patterned and you're like, oh, I don't know how to do that one, then got you, babe. Got you, babe. Keep trying to like poke it underneath. I'm just gonna end up doing this. I could go around like 2 or 3 more times, but I'm just gonna do it now. Because we don't want to see those spokes. The other thing I want to say is that you will use a lot of thread for this. So please choose the color that you have a lot of so that you don't get, you know, upset when you run out of that color and have to change. So there we go. We've done all 3. I know I mixed the 2 things today, but to be honest, the buttonhole stitch, one, we've already done it for applique, and it's quite simple. So there we go. I'll zoom out so you can have a look. that's what we have so far. So obviously you have the weekend to finish this here. And then if you need to do your woven wagon wheel roses, I like those oranges like that. Then you can do those this weekend as well. So hopefully on Monday you can be caught up, and then successful stitching today for you. Yes. And then next week they will be shorter tutorials, but we're going to learn a lot more stitches. So definitely a different stitch every day. We did do a different stitch every day, but they're not going to be such big flowers, because obviously these are all quite a lot of stitching and they're really quite large. So we'll do like 1 stitch for leaves, and we'll do like 3 leaves. We'll do 1 stitch for stems and do like 3 stems. So yeah, so hopefully it won't be as much stitching in regards to time. God, I hope that makes sense. I woke up late today, I'm telling you. I need my routine, okay? If I don't have a routine, then I'll get a bit low. So I hope you have a really lovely weekend. Don't forget, there's no video tomorrow or Sunday, so you have the whole weekend to just relax, catch up. Hopefully you take some time for yourself and do some stitching. You could also take these same stitches and use them on a different hoop and try something different. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I'll talk with you on Monday. All right, bye.